So far for my new Pantorouter, I've built the pantograph mechanism to hold the router and the base that it slides back and forth on. I still need the stock holding table and a template holder here. As you can see on my previous Pantorouter, here's the table and the template holder. Here's the plan for the stock holding table, and I've already glued some pieces together to make pieces wide enough for the sides, and there's the back part of it. The corners of the table go together with these sort of box joints here, and I'm going to try to cut these on a table saw without much of a jig using these templates. To make it quicker to make the subsequent cuts, I made some spacers that are exactly the width of the space and the finger. So rather than moving my stop, I just have to put a spacer here and then put the block against it, and that puts me right on the next slot. So far it doesn't fit, so I need to take about half a millimeter off each of those fingers using the same method. So that table goes on here, right around the plunge mechanism. And shavings often accumulate here, so I'm going to cut out a corner here to make it easier to get them out. Cutting out these joints with just a table saw sled worked out pretty good, so I figured I should also do that for the template frame that goes here. And I've got my parts printed in 1-to-1 here, so I could use those, but rather than cut this up, I printed the joints separately, and then I was thinking these are kind of fine because I designed these actually for my Squared Man's box joint jig. So I made some slight changes to the CAD drawing and made these a little bit coarser to make them easier to cut. So here's a spacer, and it's 16 millimeters for a finger and a space, and rather than stack 5 of these, I made 2 more spacers that are 32 millimeters each, so I don't get as much cumulative error from stacking all of these. I'm not even going to glue the templates on the pieces of wood. I just know that the first finger starts with 8 millimeters of material left. So I'm just setting that one up, and then I can cut them all. So I thought I was being real smart making these parts without even sticking a template on. And this part mates with this, and when I tried to fit these on here, I realized I goofed up. There's no way to mate these so that these edges end up flush, so I had to make this part again. And here it is, made correctly this time. I still need to cut a notch out of the bottom part of this here to fit around this block here. And these pieces need to taper a little bit, and the dimensions are here on my drawings. I need to cut some slots in here for mounting the template, and those are best cut with a slot mortiser or a Pantorouter, but I assume you don't already have one. So I've marked these out already here, and I'm going to try to drill these out as much as possible and finish them with a plunge router. Well, I certainly could have done a better job faster with my slot mortiser, but I gotta make sure that you can build these things without having all of my fancy tools. Got the mounting holes drilled and the slots all cut, so now I'm finally ready to glue this frame together. It's important that this frame doesn't have any twist in it, so I'm just leaving it lying flat while the glue dries. I'm adding an extra piece to the top here because I often attach templates just with clamps, and that'll give me much more room just to clamp it on like so. There's a grid of holes that needs to be drilled into the tabletop for mounting stock onto it, and I'm just going to mark these by hand rather than gluing on the template. And now I'm making a little clamp for the follower so I can better test the machine. I still have lots of odds and ends to finish on this machine, but I'm keen to try it out.